Neil Diamond has written some just great songs, obviously, over the last 40, 50 years. And we're going to take a look at Song Sung Blue, a really simple one. Just a couple of chords in it. And it's mostly just done strumming. We're going to talk about the kind of like the campfire version, just being able to strum along. But we're going to take a look at playing it with some alternating bass notes in there and a little bit of finger strumming type thing. You could play it with a pick if you want, but I'm not really going to talk about that too much in here. It has a really nice little piano intro that we're going to take a look at. So we'll work our way through that a couple of different ways. One playing pretty much just what the piano and the bass play, and another one playing just keeping it alternating. Keeping a steady alternating bass going. And then we'll talk about the chord progression. And there's a short little solo in there where strings or horns or things play the melody like I just played there a minute ago. So that is also real basic finger picking. Just you got to keep a steady alternating bass going. Anyway, we will be looking at all that in the next few segments at Neil Diamond's Song Sung Blue, 1972. Moods was the name of the album. There you have it, or the important parts of it. The chord progression, very simple, chords in the key of C, steady alternating kind of country bass, and the strumming pattern I was using there was hitting the bass note. I'm playing a C chord, and on the Cs we're going to alternate down to the G in the bass on beat 3. So as I mentioned, I said I wasn't going to do this with a pick, but you could. The strumming pattern could just be bass, down, up, bass, up, down, up. And on the C chords alternating back and forth between C and the G, moving your third finger. Neil and many guitar players play this with both fingers down here. I kind of like to move because sometimes I want to add some other stuff going on, not necessarily in this song, but it's I tend to move my third finger so that the notes actually don't ring over each other. It doesn't really matter, it's kind of up to you. But you could play the whole thing with a pick and just keep that pattern going. When I play it with my fingers, I bring one more thing in, and that is hitting a little up on the and of one, hitting the bass, and then a light up with my first finger, either across a couple strings or maybe just the third string, and then a down and an up, where the downs are with my middle fingers and the up is with the index. So a little snap down with your second and third fingers, and up with the first finger. Real basic finger strumming type pattern. As a solo, the best thing to do is just do what they did. Play the melody with a steady alternating bass. This is also pretty easy if you've got a little bit of familiarity with finger picking. But what we're going to do is I'm going to talk first about the bass notes. We're going to keep the similar pattern going on the Cs that we did when we were strumming, going from C to E and then alternating down to G on the third beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the G chords, just 4 bass notes, G and D, back and forth. And if I were to play just the melody, we'd have this. Okay, pretty straightforward. The one thing we want to do in finger picking is we've got a few spaces in there where we can throw in some extra notes. And so the only thing I have in the first measure is a couple of G's played on the and of beats 2 and 4. So those first sets of 2 beats each are pretty much identical, with a melody note being pinched on the big beat and an and on the G after the odd beat. pretty much a steady alternating bass, and just keeping your thumb alternating between the bass notes, which are of course C, and then B flat, and then A, and then G, although we do bring the F in the second line, and with the second bass note always being up on the third string. So this I would do with two fingers, my middle finger playing the first string, and my index finger playing the second string.